Hello, my dear audience. Before we dive into this chapter, I wanted to note some disclaimers and content warnings for your awareness. There'll be the usage of background music and sound effects that will recreate the effect and illusion of jump scares. Further content warnings include body horror, frightening and intense scenes, loss, depression, dark themes, potential character death, potential betrayal between characters, background emotional abuse, obsessive behaviors, fatal attractions, and illusions of toxic and abusive relationships. Viewer discretion is advised. Thank you, my dear audience. And now, enjoy. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Melancholy we weave. I am your storyteller for this evening, Ambrose. And tonight, we will be telling this tale of horror using the game Quietus by Ollie Jeffrey of Sinister Beard Games. This series is melancholic horror anthology in which each chapter will follow different pairs of characters with backstories dripping with heartache, grief, guilt, and sorrow. These unfortunate main characters are actually trying to push past their traumas while utilizing scars within their own psyche to combat an unknown horror that pursues them. Just so you know what you're getting into here, dear audience, these particular stories are not of heroes trying to overcome some evil with the power of will. This will be about broken, hurting individuals clawing out of the depths of an unknown nightmare by the skin of their teeth. Will hope tease out of their grasp, or will they be able to elude dread before it consumes them? We turn the page on this anthology and it lands on this tale, Chapter 4, Artist's Block. Andres is gone. Your muse is gone. Art rivals and friends Jude Cassidy and Alden Lowe have hit a rather rough creative blockage because of it. They are frustrated that one man could hold so much power over their abilities. They loathe him, adore him, crave him, miss him. But what happened to Andres? Was he an actual flight risk, ran away to start a new life somewhere new, like Jude believes? Or is he dead, buried and lost by someone unknown, like Alden believes? Nevertheless, they are suspended by an unknown, and a much-needed creative retreat for the two friends will do them some good. They go to Jude's family home, repurposed into an art studio and a collaborative creative space to get their minds off of everything. The art columnists, the disappointed fans of their work, the weight of Andres' missing persons report, everything. But some weird stuff is happening around the modern contemporary cabin in the woods off on the West Coast. A window has been broken out from the inside, and Andres' custom watch sits on the kitchen island suddenly without warning. What does this mean? Is Andres here somehow? Did one of them pull a prank on the other? A really cruel prank? Or is something messing with them, alone, in the woods? Let's not assume anything, dear audience, okay? Let's hope that, this is just a normal creative retreat between friends, that's what this is. So let's introduce our main characters at the table, shall we? Let's start with Arthur. Please introduce who you are, your pronouns, your character and their pronouns, and a short sentence about your character's thoughts on Andres.
My name is Arthur Wells, also known as Werewolf BF. My pronouns are he, or they, them. And I am playing Jude Cassidy, pronouns he, him. And I think Jude is, I feel like it's become frustrating how much I still hold Andres dear. As I feel that like my artwork has not been at the same level, it feels like my temperament has not been the same, and it's frustrating how much of an impact he kind of left.
Hmm, that's heavy. I'm sorry, Jude. But also, Binar, about your character. Introduce who you are, your pronouns, your character and their pronouns, and how Al feels about Andres.
Hi everyone, I'm Binar, they, them, and I'm playing Al Lowe, Alden Lowe, he, him, and I feel like Andres was a missed opportunity.
Oh man. Just that sentence? That's a
That's
heavy sentence. Oh my goodness. Okay. Whew. Already starting off strong. So, without further ado, let us continue. Artist block is a bitch. This may be the first time you feel such a creative blockage like this. Not even when you both were struggling artists. Not even when your art professors harshly critiqued your experimental pieces. Not even since you realized you wanted to be an artist. So this has been difficult. And you both, Alden and Jude, don't want to state the reason out loud. You don't want to talk about Andres or the hole he left in your lives so suddenly. You don't want to think about how much weight and impact your muse had on not only you but your art. How could just one man, a beautiful, striking, kind, passionate man, rattle your bag so much? You were forced to think of him the other day, however. Having enough and tired of the verbal lickings you've been getting from the artist column in the New York Times, you both decide to take a bit of a creative retreat for yourselves. Surrounded by nothing but your art and each other's company, you both travel to Jude's contemporary art cabin in the Pacific Northwestern woods. It has been a relaxing few days into the retreat, but despite your efforts, it seems Andres and his absence cannot be forgotten, despite your efforts. Jude, you've been sitting in the same spot for a bit, on a stool in front of a canvas within the main living room area. The space has been transformed from a normal family gathering place that you grew up with to a collaborative art space. Gentle music plays in the background. A glass of wine sits next to you on the side table, along with a custom wooden painter's palette with oil paints, something you're experimenting with. There's also some watercolors and a glass of paint water next to it. At this point, just a comfort. Watercolors are your tried and trues after all. That canvas in front of you isn't quite blank, however, since you have made some attempts at painting something not too long ago. What are you starting to work on? What are you trying to gather? What is the inspiration you have been able to muster generated so far?
Sitting there, I think it started out as one piece kind of in the middle where he's drawing these really broad strokes, trying to capture like the movement of a flame, burning some object there in the middle. And you see it like started with really careful brush strokes, and they start to get kind of messier, and he starts moving more into sketching, and you see that he's kind of given up on this as a piece. And like up in the top left, he has started like sketching out like thumbnails for like accompanying pieces on the left and the right, trying to think about the idea of like a triptych kind of art piece. But that has all been kind of pushed to the side. As you see, he's picked up a pencil, and just like very small on the canvas, he's kind of just started despondently sketching random features, whether it be like a nose that he's drawn like 15 times, or like a mouth with like really big teeth, like very just like straight up just caricature like pieces. And he's like kind of given up on the painting, and he's just like at this point kind of doodling, it would seem.
Yeah, interesting. So it starts off as the middle center was where you were starting the piece, and then you're like, nah, I'm just gonna utilize the rest of the space to just do practice work doodles and stuff like that, just to get my
Yeah,
mind busy. So while you're doing that, you're probably leaning in close, you adjust your glasses. Can you describe what Jude looks like?
definitely. Jude is sitting there, and he is sort of mousier, like a bit of a skinnier guy. He has short-ish hair on top, where he's like just short of middle parted it, has those like little bit of hangy parts, like his bangs in the front. And he has round smallish glasses that he wears low on his nose. He has like dark hair, and he is wearing just like a classic kind of Henley on top, but then like Carhartt coverall, like navy blue Carhartt coveralls on top of that.
Mm-hmm.
He's taken off the like top part and just tied it around his waist.
Yeah, okay, I thought so.
Yeah.
I was getting that vibe.
And
Cool.
just the biggest sock. Like this entire house is hardwood floors, and he's wearing the biggest, fluffiest, most dangerous socks he could be right now.
Oh man, so just sliding, just like slippery.
Yeah, it's
Oh
very that.
man, I'm not gonna use that later.
Yeah,
So.
a gift to you.
Oh
It's
my
cold up
god,
here.
I appreciate that, and that's true. That is true. It's very cold in this area. Even if it's like warmer weather, it gets cold during like
Yeah.
night times, like low light, like when was it low sun sometimes. This canvas, like many others this week, stand unfinished as you look over the top of your canvas and up and over at the window wall overlooking the valley behind your house. One of those windows, the topmost one to the right, has been quickly fixed about 2 days ago. Still a little spooky. The fact that when you arrived after traveling into LA airport, staying a little bit, and then driving or taking the train up to get to this cabin, um, upon approaching, seeing that topmost window broken as you enter into the house, and you realize it looks like it was broken from the inside out. Kind of reminding you, like, if as if like, oh hey, a kid threw a ball and threw it out, kind of situation. That's kind of what it's reminiscent of. You look around and no one's really been here. It doesn't look like anyone's taken anything. It doesn't look like anyone's been here. You know, sometimes kids like kind of squat sometimes and party in the woods, but it looks pristine last time you checked. You get it fixed. You call someone to fix it for you, but and it looks brand new. They did a wonderful job, but it still kind of sits odd with you. But weird stuff happens all the time. Like maybe the house was settling and it shattered or something like that. You're not sure.
He kind of stands up and walks over to the wall of windows, looking out over this like kind of valley. And the one window that got replaced, the tint is just slightly different on that
Mm-hmm.
one. And so you see like the wide shot, and he just kind of moves into this like just tiny bit darker window space,
Mm-hmm.
and stares out over the valley.
And just absorbing that, looking at the valley, taking a moment from your doodles and sketches over a piece of work that will never be officially finished, and you just stare. Alden, you had sat opposite of Jude, so like it was kind of like you're both facing each other, but you can't see each other because your canvas pieces are big enough to block. Your canvas is a bit further along than Jude's in terms of like composition and like it didn't. It might have devolved into something else, but like theirs was doodles. Though it's not really about competition or progress at this point in time, it's more along the lines of who's further past their blockage or not. And to be honest, any development would be better than being stuck where you are. You have a mixture of materials and paints, oils, acrylics, deep colored tones, but for some reason your signature color, ultramarine, isn't here. You're trying to do something else. Maybe like this color has not done well by you. Maybe this will be the trying something new bit might be what you need, is what you're thinking. Next to this is a full glass of, well, half glass, because I've been drinking, of bourbon whiskey. Neat. And an ashtray with a still burning cigarette resting within it. What are you working on?
An attempt at a still life. This is not Al's norm. It's almost always abstract people, but clearly that's not. He can't paint anyone else right now. And so he's trying to do a still life of items that are around the cabin. And it's calling it done or even close to a finished composition is very generous because he feels like he's back in art school. He feels like he has gone back to class and they've told him to paint an orange and a vase. And he's doing his best, but he's just can't feel it. There's nothing here. It's an empty set of objects. And even though it's clear what they are, he's just kind of given up on it being anything he shows anyone else.
Gotcha. So is it kind of like, yeah, it looks good, but it looks nothing like your usual pieces. You can't even tell if it's the same artist. Maybe the strokes or brush strokes might be the same. But clearly, like, you're doing kind of the basics of art school, which is like start with still life. Start with like dynamic sketches, blah, 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 whatever that might be. So while you're doing this, and you probably pick up your cigarette and take a pull of it. Describe what you look like, Al.
Clearly, visually, a chain smoker, the nicotine-stained fingers, and dark circles under his eyes from not sleeping, unironed shirts. He is wearing, like, layers. They all look like they've been crumpled up in a suitcase and not really laid out, but Jude would know this is just kind of how he always looks. He is in slippers, not socks, but he is still, like, kind of bundled up because it's cold. And just disheveled, but in his usual way.
I see. So you're looking and you're probably still painting, probably. Like, I would say you're looking for other things to sketch, draw, or paint through. And your eyes gravitate towards the kitchen island where that clock is with intricate gears layered on top of each other. It looks like weathered metal. It has like a color, like a very, I don't know how to describe it, but multicolored gears that have just a little bit of a coating of gold around them. Custom design, beautiful. Belonging to Andres. Appeared in this cabin yesterday morning, afternoon. And throughout that day, you were pretty certain that Jude put it there to fuck with you. Because what the fuck? So you got his watch now. And then y'all had that confrontation because it was building over the course of that day. And Jude looked clueless and hurt because Jude thought you did that. You did this to fuck with him. Now this weight is settling because either one of you is lying, you know it's not you, or you don't want to entertain the other option, perhaps.
No, it's the other option is ludicrous, clearly.
Absolutely.
Jude is a... Maybe he's not as shit of a liar as I thought he was. Maybe he's an actor. Maybe he missed his calling.
Maybe. Perhaps. But it just riles in your stomach. There's a little bit of frustration and anger, but there's also a pang of grief of the loss of a friend. But who knows? As you gravitate towards it, do you feel the urge to sketch or draw this, or you're just kind of, no, I'm gonna stop here for now?
Absolutely. It's a watch in the still life, and for a while, I try not to make it his, but it's right there. It's right there. And maybe this is a transitional period. Maybe this is a way to move past him. Maybe I need some sort of middle ground of him being a muse. Maybe just this object, and then I can stop, and then it can be new again. Maybe I can do something else after this. Just get it out of my system.
All right. So you sketch this watch that you're not sure how it got here, but it belongs to your missing muse.
Yes.
Can you roll for me?
Absolutely. That's a 2, my friend.
Oh my god. Starting strong, yo. With an uneasy roll. I get 1 dread. And nothing bad happens. It's like nothing weird. But your eyes gravitate and you stare for a long period of time. And it's like your hands have a motion of their own as you start laying out the basic structure of this watch and where it is. It's a little far away, but you know what you're looking at. You've seen it. You've played with it while being in the arms of this man. Just letting time pass and just looking at that clock, messing with his wrist. Despite his asking you not to mess with the time, you still do. So you remember that. And you just flow, and it starts to feel like that blockage is gone. And it just feels so good. It feels natural. This is what you were waiting for. This. But it feels like it's overflowing out of you. Like you can't stop. Can you roll again?
Absolutely. That's a 4.
Better. A lot better. You keep a lesser version of it, and then you can try again, but this is good. You don't have to worry about this.
Okay, we'll keep it.
And as you start painting, the oils bleed together, and like it looks like a splatter at the edges, just to showcase the reflection on the marble countertop of the island. And then you come back to your senses and you stop. And it looks like a perfect replica of this watch. This is a little... You know how to do still life. This is good. This is good, but you were barely there.
Huh. Just lean back and finish the cigarette in one just like really long pull, and then light a second one and just kind of look at it and wish the rest of it was this good. Because if the rest of the painting was this good, then I would have maybe something. And we just watch him stare at it for a long time.
Okay. Jude, you're staring out the window. You haven't really noticed any of this because you're not bothered with what Al is doing. What are you up to? What are you looking at? What are you thinking?
Oh. Paladin is looking out, and he's thinking about this house, this building he has because it was left to him by his dad. It's not really his style, but his parents had it together, and he's thinking about how you know, if things really do keep not going well in New York, and even if you were to come West Coast and maybe things were okay for a couple of months, but then not, he would probably be ending up here because it's all paid off. It's just a cabin out in the woods. And I think for the first time in a very long time, Jude is wishing for some like street sounds.
Like something, like kind of a drone kind of situation
Yeah.
in the background. Like whether it's cars passing by, maybe light honking in the distance, people chatting. Not something you would usually crave because you get overwhelmed by people most of the time, especially showing off your pieces. You don't want to be there normally, but you kind of have to be. It's your pieces that you're showcasing. And as you stare off and you look through the window, you realize that someone's standing behind you. And through the reflection, you see this.
Who is it?
It's an outline. It looks like a very familiar outline. The front of them is cloaked in shadow, but you know that shape of hair, that chiseled jaw, those strong shoulders anywhere.
And he turns around really quickly.
Nothing there.
But I think he turns around and I think catches Alden staring at the watch.
All right. You see that. What do you do?
How's still life coming?
Oh, it's going. How's yours going?
It's not.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where you go, maybe it's this thing that is where my artist block is coming from. Maybe it's this. Maybe it's too many people, too many distractions, too much city noise, and then you go, none of that, and you can take that off the list of possible reasons.
You and I both know why. Being in a cabin doesn't change it.
But I guess bringing out his watch and doing still life of it does.
I thought we talked about this.
I thought we did, but
yeah.
if you need it out, does it need to be here on the island?
I don't know. Does it need to be here? This isn't my cabin.
We're literally, this was fucking 8 hours of yesterday. We're not doing this again. I'm moving on.
Okay. I'm allowed to paint whatever the fuck I want.
Sure.
So are you.
Sure. You know what? Maybe I'll paint a watch.
Do it. Go ahead. Maybe we can compare notes.
And Jude just kind of like twists on the spot and goes and sits down at the canvas and swaps it out.
All right. So you're going to start doing the same thing, doing a still life of this watch?
Absolutely.
What medium are you choosing to go with?
I think that he figures out what colors he's working with, and he's gonna pull out just like a large bag of ghostly art medium. It's like really thick stuff, and he's gonna just start mixing colors, and he's going to, I think this time it's gonna be just full like easel painting, like taking the like mixing knife and using that to spread paint on it and
all right. I love
work
that.
on that.
All right, cool. So you're kind of out of spite at this point. It feels like
Yeah.
You grab the bag, you like get an easel knife, you're mixing colors, you're doing
and it's
the
like
whole everything.
It's going to be like really close up. Like the majority of the canvas is going to be just the watch face. Yeah.
Cool. I love this. Is this like a new easel, like an entirely new?
This is a fully new canvas. Yeah.
It feels right that you're kind of punctuating everything by like grabbing, picking up, throwing down, taking it, moving it, putting it
Yeah.
down.
A lot of
Very
loud
jerky, like
mixing.
loud
Yeah.
mixing to make your point known that
Yeah.
like this is
Sure.
some bullshit to Al at this point. And you get these colors, these vibrant colors from the watch. And you probably have a closer view of it, but not by much. But you decide to do a close up as if you are standing in front of it. Can you roll a dice? If you'd like to increase your pool, you can do several things to do so.
Is this a?
This is still uneasy. Like
This is still easy.
You don't think y'all think you're fucking with each other.
Sure.
So
actually, if I were to on an easy roll, just because I'm being really petty, can I? Here's the wild thing. Can I reveal a scar on an easy roll
absolutely.
where I'm
You
being
can
so
reveal a scar
supremely petty?
whenever
Okay.
you want, if you want to create a pool.
So there is a canvas that is going to be the one that like it's going just starting off. He's going to do like a really quick orange wash on it to cover what was on there. And what was on there, we see this old canvas, not old, but this used canvas that, much like the bottom corner of that other canvas, has these like caricature features. And you see there are all these people that he started painting these like caricatures of them. And we rewind a couple of days back when we were in Los Angeles. He went and met his cousin out in Santa Barbara, just like a little bit further outside of Los Angeles. They go down to like the boardwalk and they're walking around talking. And I think the scene that we see the two of them kind of having this day walking around, we see the two of them kind of sitting at a table on the boardwalk watching a caricature artist. And the line that really sticks with him that his cousin said was, artists like you, when they've got nowhere else to go, they've got the boardwalk. And so he's really been thinking about it the past couple of days of like, yeah, I could do caricature. But you see him pull up this canvas that's just like covered in all of these like faces. And he just like does a whitewash and then orange to tone it and then starts working.
All right. What is the element you're bringing in with this scar?
I think the element is that idea of the like, not only is this being kind of petty in the moment, which is just what the basic role is, there's like that bringing in of like, this is the thing, like there is not another option, I think. And so kind of like convincing himself that this is not just about being an asshole to Al, who is being an asshole. This is about like it's like it's a question of, I think, artistic integrity that he's really pushing right now. And so it's like that kind of putting that safety route out of his head.
I'm gonna say, because this is artistic integrity, pride to do nothing else.
Sure.
You can use, that's a very involved element you can use in a lot of ways. So like increase your anxiety by 2 because you just revealed the scar. And it drives up your anxiety to do so. Going forward, if you need to use that element, you can just use it without spending anxiety, so you're fine. Okay. Cool. So that's 2 dice you can roll now.
Okay. 2 dice. Let me scroll down to the list again. So I got a 3 and a 4. So not a total failure.
Not a total failure. You got a 4, which is a mixed success for uneasy. Sure. That's really good. The character achieves a lesser version of their goal, or they can try again at a 10th. So doing good. You're fine. You there's a bit of pettiness, frustration at Al, but there's also, yes, your cousin was trying to be nice about the options that you have, but it kind of is a little bit of a slap to the face, knowing where you came from. Of like, hey, you were in galleries, you're selling work, people are talking with you, people want to talk with you. And then going to the boardwalk is kind of like do you not know who I am? There's a sense of pride here. And you, with frustration, mix your paints, do an orange wash, get started. And that same feeling takes over of finally the release, the flow state takes over. And it feels amazing. This is what you're used to. This is what you've had before. The block isn't there. That mental block isn't there, and it's just going. And you're slathering on paints. You're using a knife to make particular shapes out of the paint as well. It's looking good. This is the first thing you've made that felt good. But not the best you can do. And after like a halfway point of setting up, you stop. So it does look still incomplete, but it is a good start.
He kind of puts down the palette that he's been using with the palette knife and Al, sorry, have coffee? Anything?
No, I'm good. Thanks. I do need to get up though, so I can get it if you want.
It's okay. Obviously I'm frustrated. I think I just need to walk around a little bit. Yeah.
So are you taking an artistic break from the session?
Taking a little bit of an artistic break from the session.
All right, cool. What are y'all? So y'all are probably, one of you said like, I'll get the coffee. No, I'll get the coffee for you. Like, now I need to get up. So you both kind of get up at the same time, awkwardly. And you start going towards the kitchen where the coffee pot is, and it has old coffee from yesterday. And I'm gonna say, Al, you get to it first, and you pour it out and you clean it out to the pot and get some fresh grinds of coffee. And yeah, y'all just had a moment. Y'all are still kind of upset with each other. But now it's like awkwardly quiet because now you're acting like you didn't just do that to each other. What are you doing?
Really glad to have something to do with my hands, and just, I've never found coffee more interesting than right now.
I was thinking about opening the windows a little bit this afternoon, just to kind of get some air through here. Is that okay?
Oh, yeah, I didn't know they, I'm gonna be honest, I didn't know they opened. I thought they were kind of decorative.
They're not like, they're not like doors, you know, it's like up at the top, they kind of swing down a little bit. It's like German, I don't know.
Oh, I don't know shit about architecture. I don't know. There's just a lot of glass here. I mean, you can.
There's a room a few halls down. It's like a storage room for where you put canvases, old canvases that you have. Whether you've done it yourself, with friends over, with y'all, because this might not be the first time you've been here. Who knows? You hear a shuffling in there.
Both of us?
Both of you.
How big? What kind of shuffling?
You want to find out what kind of shuffling it is? You have to walk closer.
I think first I look over at Jude, like...
Here in the kitchen, I'm going to pick up a frying pan.
That's fair. You
and
slowly reach, like, kind of staring where Al's pointing, and then, like, without looking behind you, because you know this place, you go to, like, a cabinet, you open it while looking ahead, and you feel around for a pot handle when you find one. It's like a skillet. So like it's a little heavy, but that's what you want if this is what you think it is, right? And you're just like,
Maybe the animal that broke the window, we missed it while we were looking around the house. Maybe.
Maybe we missed something. Let's go look. And I think actually, like when I see Jude grab a frying pan, I grab a utensil that is kind of large, like anything that like could sort of heft at them that is nearby the coffee pot, and I will let one of you make that call. What is actually just within reach, logical or not? He does have something in his hand.
a spatula.
Yeah.
There you go. It's a spatula.
I like a metal, all metal spatula, but it's
Yeah.
a spatula. So.
Yeah. It's not gonna do a lot, but it's something.
It's heavy enough on impact for something potentially. So you both look at each other. One of you with a skillet, another one with a metal spatula, and you start walking. Let's say it's like a few paces to get to the hallway, and then you make a turn and you listen again, and you hear that shuffling sound. And as you get closer, whoever wants to listen for more specifics, roll dice for me.
Like we both can, or
you both can, or if you just want one of you is like the one who's might be closer, the one that's like leading the charge, might be able to hear better. Either way,
I think I might be leading because I have the pan.
you have the pan,
but
if you would, house,
yeah,
so
yeah,
exactly. If you would like to roll, you can, but I'm happy to.
You're welcome to, because
Cool.
you are absolutely leading the charge here. You
Cool.
have a larger weapon, and you know where this is.
Okay. That's a 3.
It's a 3. Okay.
A 3.
This is still an easy because you think it's an animal.
Oh, it's still easy. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So don't worry. I'll let you know when it's not. I get another dread.
Cool.
No major consequences for failing on an uneasy roll. You listen out, and you're doing that thing where like you pause in your walk and you lean your ear forward as if that's going to help to increase the distance between you and the sound. And it shuffles again, but you can't really tell if it's feet, if it's something moving around, if it's like an animal scurrying. You just know that at the very least, it's not accidental. Like it's not like, oh hey, something is tipped over and fell or anything like that. This is a conscious effort, or something is moving in there. And you keep moving forward.
And he'll kind of like reach back a hand a little bit because I can't figure out what it is, and I kind of will like try to stop you as I keep going forward with the pan. And I'll try and open the door quietly.
Okay. You do that. You open it. How are you opening? Is it just literally like
so
or
sneakily,
is it like
so sneakily,
sneakily, like quiet? Press your body against it.
Exactly.
Like, you lean your body. Like let's say the pan is in your left hand. In your right hand, you're pressing your body against the door, and you're opening it. And then as you're slowly opening it, you feel a presence behind you. You think it's Al. That makes sense. He's directly behind you. But someone rubs their jaw against yours as they lean in close. And you are not assaulted, but just a gentle smell comes in that reminds you of Andres, which is vanilla notes, amber, woodsy. And a rumble of hum, like someone is humming like a note as the door fully opens. And then the presence is gone.
And I think he just like drops the like cast iron skillet on the like hardwood floor and goes, sorry. I don't think there's anyone in here.
Are you sure?
You didn't check.
I didn't check, but
What the fuck?
and I like pick it up and I guess I go inside. It's not a big room, is it?
It's not a big room. No.
Yeah.
Like it's like a whole bunch of like like they're racks for canvases that are against the
Yeah.
wall. So like you could put them in sideways kind of. And you look around. You don't really see anybody in here. You don't see like evidence of an animal. You don't see evidence of a person, but you do see one of the portraits has been pulled out. So like you're now kind of putting two and two together. That shuffling noise was like the canvas being shifted out a little bit each time. It's very obvious that this is the one that was moving because it's like halfway out. You did not leave it like that. You're very pretty. You're pretty, obviously, like, put it in. Because, like, you're coming back. When you come back to look at your paintings or, like, get inspired by old paintings of yours, it's neatly put away. That's, like, what you're known for when it comes to care for your things. So, you're just staring at it.
Oh, Can I just, like, go up and look and see which one it is?
Yeah, if you want to. Like, you're just both staring at the door right now.
Yeah.
Especially since there's no animal, and, like, I was so ready for this to be, like, a dude, or maybe a raccoon.
A dude or a raccoon?
A dude.
Nothing in between.
You know? Nothing in between.
Yeah.
These are the two things I thought it might be.
Actually, dude and raccoon is kind of a rectangular square situation, but we'll come back to that later.
Exactly. Completely.
And this is neither. And definitely neither did this, because that's wild. And I think even I know Jude puts things back.
Yes, you know, for like they are very meticulous, or he's very meticulous about putting his paintings once they're done away, climate controlled room. Like oils don't melt; they're kind of separated from each other. They have to be. This won't do any damage to it, but there is a chance of accidentally bumping into it if you're not careful, kind of situation. So yeah, you go up, you look at it.
Yep, just I walk right past Jude wordlessly to go look and see what this is.
You reach for the painting and you carefully pick it up and pull it out, at least like enough to see what it is. And you see Andres's smiling face.
Jesus fucking Christ.
And it's gorgeous. This is one of the better pieces that he's done. It's a year ago, 2 years ago. It's just for his private collection. Like, you have your own private collection too of stuff that you've done with and without him. And a lot of people love it. A lot of people want it. And it's just him in a park, probably Central Park. Bright, beautiful colors. That smiling face. Those steel gray eyes.
It's a good one.
I'm sure that hurt, but thank you.
Listen, I'm not gonna lie to you and tell you work is shit. I'll only tell you when it is. And this isn't. Okay, does this house shift a lot? Is the foundation fucked, or like, what? Like, is it?
I would assume not. We're kind of built, over a bit of a hang. So, I mean, it stayed here for at least 40 years. I would assume it's not going to fall or something, but it may. I mean,
Al, you are looking at this painting and you're asking these questions. You're across the room. I'm assuming that you haven't fully.
I'm standing at the door, but I think I know exactly which painting it is.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And kind of juxtaposition of what Jude felt. You feel rough hands wrap behind your two arms, grab them. That same sharp edge of a jaw against your neck, breathing hard, demanding of you.
Yeah, he jerks back, and I think it actually jerks the painting fully out. like, and whips around. He's not even looking at the painting anymore. And I'm sure no one's there.
Mm-mm.
Jesus Christ, holy fuck. Okay.
It falls.
Whew.
It doesn't have enough of a foothold anymore, and that chain falls.
Sorry. Shit.
It's okay. And he kind of has moved in at this point and is like getting it up off the ground. He's like, don't touch it. It's fine.
Okay.
It's fine.
Yeah, sorry. That I didn't yeah, sorry about that. Can we leave this room? Would this be cool? I'm gonna leave.
Yeah. Okay.
Alright.
I'll get this back in here. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's, you do whatever you want with it. Yeah.
So, you leave, Al. You go back into the room. And Jude is left to put the work away. Probably gonna look it over for a quick moment. You walk back to the kitchen, or you're set up. Like, where are you going?
Back to the kitchen, I think, to put the spatula down that I dropped and then picked up, because I'm not gonna like leave that in his stored room. That's more, I don't need to like double the embarrassment that I've got going on right now. So that's
Totally understandable.
I'm like, I am putting it back like nothing ever happened. We didn't do any of this. None of this happened. I'm gonna make coffee. I'm gonna finish making coffee like a normal person.
So you're shaking a little bit. Memories of Triss before fled through your mind. Those rough hands are very much there, and it is really hard not to think of him right now. And as you're like, would y'all be the type to grind your own beans, or is it like already ground? Like, what is good?
Oh, it's artisanal, I'm sure.
It's artisanal beans. You're
Hand
like,
ground, like
yeah,
you
hand
can't,
ground
yeah.
and everything. So you're just like,
so pretentious.
I'm gonna go into the process of making coffee. Maybe this will put me back on track. Doing something that's monotonous but will get me the bean juice is what's good. You're going through that and you're grinding. And can you roll for me?
Absolutely. That's 3.
What's going on?
I don't know. I don't know what's going on at all here.
Okay.
It's we're
All
doing
right.
so good.
You're doing good. You're doing fine. Luckily it's uneasy, but you're working up to 10 soon. So like, ooh, you're starting to get on the tail end of uneasy. So you're grinding, and then you put the grinds in the pot. And you put in your water. You turn on the faucet to filter out clean water, and you hear a weird noise. It sounds like leaking. Like a leaking noise. Like, not water. You're not sure how to, like, place it exactly. It's thicker sounding than water.
From where?
Somewhere in the room. It's not where you are, like, not in the kitchen. But you feel something, you hear something leaking down a surface.
I think I put the coffee on, but I don't hit the start because that would make a noise. And maybe I can prove to Jude this place is falling apart, and clearly that's what's going on, right? That's what's going on.
That could be the case. It could be like there is like some like septic situation of leaking.
Exactly.
You don't smell that though, but like that's the only thing you could think of that might be leaking that's thicker than water, potentially.
Clearly. So I'm gonna go find it. I haven't turned the coffee on because that's gonna make a dripping sound, and that'll fuck up my whole thing.
You got a 3 last time, right? Like that's what that
I
was.
did get a 3.
So you didn't fully succeed. So like you don't know. So you start walking around, and you're looking in corners, and you're looking around, and the structure looks sound. You look at where the glass had broken, and you're wondering maybe there was a shift to the building, and that's what caused it. And it looks good. There's no like breakage of the wood or anything like that that would indicate that. And then you start looking around your areas where you both were like making your pieces, your sorrowful pieces that turn into like actual pieces once you looked at that watch. And then you look at Jude's, who really good, like really good still life of this watch, giving a little bit of like an extra kick to it. And then you look at yours, and it looks like the leaking is coming from your painting. There's an overflow of ultramarine red and pink that's bleeding down the canvas and overtaking your doodles. And same thing with these greens from the clock faces are starting to bleed down and overcoat your easel, and it's going to the floor, the wooden floor, and Jude's gonna be pissed if he sees the paint dripping there. Luckily, I think that like it's just a few drips because you have like what is it, like tar? Not tar. What am I thinking about? Tarps down. Like you have a tarp down, a clear tarp, but it is getting into the wood, so as well as like some flecks of gold are like splattering down as well. And it doesn't make sense because it's not like you're putting anything on there. It just seems like it's coming from its own source. Behind the easel?
What the fuck? I get down and like wipe up that paint from the floor real quick and try to like, it's like a spilling glass on a surface, like trying to get it and scoop it and stop it and
I'm
like
gonna
figure
take
out
2 dread to make it 1 to give you a small consequence. So
yes.
you go to like, oh shit, like I already dropped the painting, a beautiful painting, and then I also just dropped paint on his floors, and like, come on now, you get a piece of cloth that you like, it will wipe it up. You're doing it immediately. It's not like it's gonna stain if you do that. And then you wipe it, and it just spreads. And it spreads more than it should. Like it's like it's like you dabbed the cloth in that paint and smeared it. And then you're like, the fuck? And then you smear again, and you're trying to flip it over to see if there's there's no, and then you try to wipe it up again, and you wipe towards you, and it just gets worse. And now it's flooding in with that magenta colors, and now it's flooding with the gold colors. And then as you're trying to do one more wipe through those colors, a hand reaches out and grabs your wrist in those colors and squeezes hard. And you shake your hand and drop the cloth. And it's clean now. You wiped it up just fine. But you look at your wrist, and there's mild bruising, and then just in fingerprints on your wrist, those colors are there.
I touch it to see if it wipes off, to see if it's even...
No, it does not wipe off.
Cool.
It's just there. If you try to rub it, even a little bit, it's stuck.
Is my painting still dripping?
No.
Okay.
It's like it never happened.
Yep. All right. All right, we're gonna go
Wild.
back.
Next, let's go to
Where
you, Jude. So you pick up this picture. Going back a little bit in time, you pick up this picture and you are greeted like Al was with that smiling face of Andres. Can you tell me when this was painted in terms of like why this was painted, like the setting perhaps? And if you would like, you can create an element for a scar later from the scene if you want
Okay,
to.
gotcha. So this afternoon, when I painted this picture, we actually had gone out to Kips Bay in New York. It's like a neighborhood. We were there for a sort of, it's kind of weird. It was like a gallery open that happened during the morning. Like they were trying to do a brunch kind of thing. I don't know. But we left and had gone to Bellevue Park, which is right there. And this painting is actually like a finished version of a really quick, like, day of watercolor that he did. Like he just had like one of those kind of like Altoid like palettes that he had with a notebook, and they were like sitting kind of just doing little like plein air things. And we spent that afternoon just like there in the park, and it was quiet, it was nice. And on the back of the painting, like tucked into the canvas, is actually the
Original watercolor?
original watercolor. It's just like a small, like maybe 3x5, like kind of index card size. That it's still very nice, and it looks somewhat like the final piece. But like the final piece was really like taking this moment and kind of elevating it into a piece. And I think that hmm I think that I don't know what this will be, but the element is he has his like plein air kit, where it has like the this little, it's kind of butter cookie tin kind of deal
Oh
that
yeah.
has like the notebook, has a notebook in there, has a little palette of watercolors and some brushes. I don't know what that might turn into, but I think that's the thing I'm introducing, is this little like go kit.
A little go kit. Okay, so like
Yeah.
put that in the elements list when you get the chance.
Yeah.
And you remember that day and that smile, the sun shining through. Hair was kind of messy for him. Like he looked like the. This is the first. I think this probably be one of the first times you've seen him kind of unkempt. At least in terms of his hair, he had stubble growing in, but his outfit looked like his usual getup. And he looked so relaxed with you and you wanted to capture that moment. You remember his voice, and you're remembering this, and you see the kit, and you see that original like watercolored page from that day behind there. You notice something about it. It looks like there's something written on the back of it. From your memory, you don't remember writing anything behind it. Neither did Andres.
I'll go pick it and read it.
You take it and you flip it over. And in script writing, very elegant. His handwriting looks familiar. It looks like his. And it says, "Come to me."
I think he looks at the piece of paper, and it's like been a weird kind of stressful, like sort of late afternoon. Like we're tripping over each other, there's the noises, and he sees it and he like crumples it up. Just this original watercolor. There's something about it that like he's already too stressed, and he crumples it up, but then he still puts it in his pocket.
Oh man, you crumple this picture, this thing that you like kind of painstakingly put away, and wanted to make sure that you kind of encapsulated the memory. You kind of
Yeah.
somewhat destroyed the memory a little bit.
I think there's a little bit of like I said earlier, he's feeling really frustrated right now that it's like Andres has had such an impact, and it's this like he can see this piece that was like originally just like a little watercolor, all the hours that he put into making this painting good.
Mm-hmm.
And it's hanging out here in storage, and he's been stuck trying to get any kind of nice art, and the only thing that worked was Andres' watch. And so I think he sees the note, and it's just like maybe it was some kind of thing he left as like a he'll find it eventually, and it'll be like a cute thing or whatever, and I think it pisses him off. And so not enough to get rid of it entirely, but enough to like, oh, yeah,
also,
fuck
you're
this.
angry with him because like you are still thinking that like he kind of upended his life and ran, and you're remembering that dream too that you had, the last dream you had of him, and it was scary. It was weird. You see like what is it again? It was like a glass forest kind of.
Yeah,
Of
like
stained
the
glass.
like glass gardens that they do for like Chihuly at a bunch of different museums. Yeah.
And walking with him, and then him running through it, and it seemed like he was desperate in the dream, but also not sure. And as you're thinking about this and the frustration, he left you, and the note saying "come to me," it just kind of isn't working. Who really wrote? Maybe he wrote it before you put it away and you didn't notice it. You feel strong arms wrap around you from behind, sensually and caring, and pull you back against the chest. And a jaw rests on your shoulders. And his voice says, "I would never leave you. Never."
And he takes
Why would you think of that, Jude?
he takes a really deep breath of that like vanilla and amber again, and breathes out and goes, "This is nothing." And he just like he puts the painting back, and he's like gonna try and move out of the room. God, I can't.
You roll for me?
He's getting flustered. He's angry. He doesn't know what's going on. Okay. Is this going to be a... I don't know if I'm going to push it. I think I'll just roll this straight.
Okay.
But I'm going to leave.
Actually, this is kind of tense, I'm going to say, because like this is feeling the most real so far of everything that's happening.
He said something. Oh, I don't know if I have anything. I think this time I'm just going to accept it. I'm going to try and do this roll.
Okay. Because I understand there's like not a lot to work with all alone by your lonesome in this room.
Well, it's also just like I think this is the first kind of big swing that he's experiencing, and so it's like just the unpreparedness of it, I think, is something. Let's find out.
Let's do it.
Bro, y'all are not gonna believe this.
Come on, tell me.
That's
Heck
a 6. It has finally happened.
So you're trying to like leave the situation, pull out of this grasp that you are pretty certain isn't real, and that smell is just inviting, and you tug out of it, and there is a little bit of resistance, like that force is trying to keep you there, but they relent because the desire to leave is present, and you're making it known. And then those hands slowly withdraw, fingers caressing the sides of your waist as it pulls away.
and that smell is just lingering in his nose. And I think instead of even like addressing whatever is going on with Al right now, he goes immediately to the windows and starts like opening the top and kind of leaning them in to get some fresh air into the
That makes
building.
sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Getting kind of hot.
Getting a little hot.
Just a little
Yep.
bit. Mm-hmm.
Get a little hot.
All right. So you're doing that. We're gonna go back to you, Al, and you're looking at the paint, fingerprints, ridges, like kind of embedded. And as you're looking, is there anything you do? Are you gonna try to get it off, or are you gonna leave it there?
I'm gonna go immediately to the sink by the coffee pot and try to scrub this shit off. Like, this is... I don't know what this is, but I'm gonna see if it comes off, because that's the only... Logical is a really strong word here, but...
Yeah, it is.
We're gonna try to get it off.
Okay. Roll tense for me.
Alright. I don't think I have it. I'm just gonna roll straight. I think this is the same thing. I don't think it's... That is a 5.
Nice. Okay, so it's not a full success, but you did succeed. My dread goes up to 2. Let's see. The character. Okay. Achieve a lesser version. So you pull your shirt back. I think it's like you have a long sleeve like shirt kind of situation. Button up. That's like unbuttoned. You pull it up and you have it unbuttoned and you roll it up and you're getting like the dish soap. The Dawn is there. You like get like a sponge and you're gonna try to rub. Because like once paint gets in and it's dried on you, you're not sure how it dried that quickly, but you know. And you're scrubbing and you're scrubbing and you're scrubbing until your skin is red. Not to the point of like, you know, like hurting yourself, right? But like you're getting to that point of like, hey, you already scrubbed all the dead skin off that you could, and it's not really going away. There is some that is like coming off. Some of the flecks are coming off. Some of the magenta, the bright magenta colors is coming off. Some of the deep greens are coming off, but not a lot. This was like all your effort, and if you try to like rinse it off more, you're going to like rub your skin off at this point. And you don't want to hurt yourself, so you're just kind of looking at your wrists and you're like, the hell.
Okay. All right, this is a future me problem that I'm going to deal with later, and I'm going to just turn on the coffee.
Yeah.
And maybe try to scrub this off again later, or pour paint thinner on my hands, or something. And I look back at the painting again, just to see if there's none of this. None at all.
It's all good. It still looks like before the drips happened. The music is still playing in the background. I didn't ask, like, is this like a radio? Is this someone's phone playing Spotify? Is it like...
What is it, Jude? I think you would
I
be...
think like it's gotta be. It's an old, like I said, it's an old home that he got from like his parents. It's straight up just like a full stand-up record player.
Amazing.
There's a long line of shelving that's just records.
Damn, I should have asked sooner. Now I can use this. All right,
Yeah.
so this long line of records. What is playing right now? I can come up with something if you're like, unless there's a certain vibe you want to go for.
I think so. Jude often picks a lot of like really classicals, like things that people might recognize, but it's not necessarily like the best thing. I don't know. Right now is playing the 1918 Stravinsky's Firebird Suite.
All right. Are you thinking of changing the record, or are you just gonna keep it as is? I would say that you're coming out from that that storage room for your paintings, as Al has turned off the water, started the pot. Looks a little frazzled, and you also look a little frazzled at this time. And that record is kind of coming to its end. So once it does, it like kind of picks up and slowly pushes to the right, letting you know that the whole thing played.
Um, do you have any preferences, Al?
I
think there's obviously a lot of classical stuff, but there's some jam band stuff, jazz.
in anything. Anything kind of loud would be good. I think it's I don't know, but it's too fucking quiet out here.
Loud.
Really wild choice. I'm gonna put on some Fish. Just like kind of noisy jam band music for our horror adventure to be in front of.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Al looks at you and is like, why do you have a Fish record?
You said noise. This is noise.
This is technically
music. Yeah,
it's
this is
technically music.
Technically music.
Right. So
Alright.
you go over, Jude. You look through the record and you look for Fish. Something loud to play that's just not like relaxing like it was before.
Oh yeah, fully. Stravinsky is like, it's like very pleasing to listen to, and then we're listening to like Bell to the Lizard People. Like we've entered a bizarre space right now.
So you want to switch out music instead of something relaxing and calming. You decide to go with Fish. And you go with the Starlight 98 album. So you're like going through and looking for it, and you find it pretty quickly because the cover is pretty straightforward. And you intend to start from the top, which it would be a Trench Town Rock is what you're expecting. So you do that, you put that on there, and it does start playing, and it's jazzy. It's like a different kind of relaxing. It's more light and hopeful. It might get you moving. It might get you tapping your foot or something. And y'all intend to get a cup of coffee before you get started or continue with your pieces, or try different pieces, whatever you're feeling. You both go into the kitchen. You get your mugs. I don't know if you have any like cutesy mugs or anything with labeling or anything like that.
It's a lot of really vintage old stuff.
I thought so. Like, it was very vintage vibes from mugs. One from like a national park, another one from a record store in LA. That has very vintage vibes.
We actually bought it last week on the way up.
Oh my god.
But it looks vintage.
It looks vintage, but actually it's brand spanking new.
Yeah.
So as you're doing that, you're pouring coffee and you're considering, should we get milk from the refrigerator, get some sugar or honey or whatever your sweetener of choice is. You hear the record scratch like it's being moved, and then it settles on a different song, and you both turn and you wait for a little bit as you just hear the needle, like that little like crackling of the needle, and the song Limb by Limb starts playing instead. Still nice, still jazzy, but that's not what I wanted, but okay, kind of situation. And it still keeps playing. Weird, but it's fine.
Hey Al,
Yeah.
are you feeling okay?
I'm I am feeling I'm alive, and it's just been kind of a weird day.
Okay, that was more what I was looking for. It's been a weird day.
Okay.
Mm.
Yeah, why do you ask?
I don't know. I just keep having weird moments, like I'm zoning out or something. I don't know. And then I don't know. Focus has been hard.
Is there like a carbon monoxide detector in here or something?
Maybe. I mean, I assume so. There was. I can go look around in the closets and see.
Because I've also been kind of having and he lifts his arm to like gesture, and you do see that like kind of it looks like he grabbed his own wrist with, or somebody did, with like a paint covered hand. You don't. It's weird. But he's not paying attention to it anymore. I've been having weird, like, zone out thing. I don't know. I don't want to like die from carbon monoxide poisoning in this old ass house.
Yeah.
So maybe if you know where one is,
no,
we should check it.
Yeah.
It's like I assumed it'd go off or some shit, but like if you don't have one, I'm not. He like actually make sure all the windows are open.
Yeah, let's go check windows, check some closets. I think that. Oh, and I look kind of over at the canvas, but it's still that same one. Were you little mistake? I mean, sorry.
I don't know, dude. I don't fucking know.
Because I mean, you're not really using that pink right now.
Yeah, I know. I don't use this color at all. This is sort of your. That's your.
Yeah. Okay. Sure. Yeah.
No.
Okay. Yeah. Let's go check windows and open some doors.
I'm gonna find that fucking carbon monoxide detector.
Okay.
Yeah, we're just gonna go.
Yeah.
I don't actually think that I know where I'm going.
That's fair.
And so I don't know this house very well. We've been here for a few days. This is Jude's place, but you know, the methodical walkthrough of opening all the windows and looking for that little plug-in carbon monoxide detector that, you know, something.
Okay. Something. So y'all had some weird stuff happen already, and you haven't really told each other what that was yet, because you're thinking like it must be carbon monoxide poisoning. Something in logic, something grounded in reality, and you're walking together because you're not going to say you're scared, but you're at least going to start opening windows in a part of the house that's not open yet. And while y'all are walking, Al, you're looking for a carbon monoxide detector. You do see a few, like they're lined above, strategically placed so that like, hey, if there's ever a spot that didn't get caught, you know. So there's, let's say, a total of maybe 7 or 8 in this house. So yeah, your dad Jude like went out and made sure
safety
like
guy.
this is a like set up for safety. This is set up for living in for long periods of time if you want to too. So, and you can see the blinking light letting you know that the battery's full. Smoke and carbon monoxide standard detector.
Fucking
Hey, Al.
Yeah?
I know. Listen. Obviously, we're dealing with a lot. And we're kind of moving past the point of talking about it. When was the last time you saw Andres?
Saw him? Like in person?
Yeah.
Maybe a few days, maybe more before we got the report, you know, before cops got involved or some shit. What did you last?
I mean, no, it was the same. The last time we saw each other in person, we were like getting coffee, you know. I didn't think there was any. It didn't feel like he was trying to tell me he wanted to run away to the Swiss Alps or wherever, but you know.
Did he like call or text you or anything in the interim? Like, when was the last time he did?
It was like the night before we found out he was missing.
Okay. And you actually talked to him? No?
Mm.
You just got a call?
And I missed it. I was asleep, and
Okay.
did
So
you? Fuck.
3 of them. I missed 3 fucking calls.
Yeah.
And he didn't leave a voicemail. And I don't think he did, or maybe he did, or my phone's fucking up. Yeah. At least I wasn't the only one.
Yeah.
He didn't leave a message or anything. And he like fishes in his pocket for his phone, and his hands are like shaking, and he like opens it up and swipes it up to the voicemail page, and there's not like a lot of voicemails on this guy's phone, but there is one labeled Andres. And he's like, I tried playing this, I didn't get it that night, and it's labeled for that night, and it doesn't fucking play, and I don't know what's going on. And
could you try again?
sure, why the fuck not? Maybe it'll work in front of you. I don't know. And he puts it on speaker, and he hits play.
You hit play. And the last few times that you've pressed play, you didn't hear anything. And that same thing doesn't happen. Like, that same thing happens where you don't hear anything. In the room, you hear something distant in the living room, though. The music shifts from limb by limb to talking, someone's voice muttering instead. You can't really hear very well from where y'all are in the house.
I don't pause it, but I just kind of start moving towards it, trying to listen. Like, I don't pause the voicemail or whatever. Like, I just keep it exactly where it is and just sort of move and hope Jude follows me.
Yeah, I'll start following.
And you get closer and you hear remorse in that voice. You hear joyful, somber, kind of, where like reserved to a fate of some sort, or perhaps just giving in is the best way to put it. And you hear the voice as it gets clearer, and you didn't hear the first half of it, but you hear the rest. I'm so sorry, you two. I didn't want it to be like this, but I can't help myself. I know you're here. I can feel you here. And all I want is you. Both of you. But I don't know what that's going to do to you. So I'm sorry. I just can't help myself. See you soon. And it ends. As you walk into the living room, and it ends with that, the scratch of the record takes place. And you just sit there and you listen, and you know, technologically speaking, this is an older record player. It doesn't have a Wi-Fi connector to your phone. That's not how voicemails work. None of that makes sense. And it syncs up with like the tracker on your phone of that, and it pauses and stops. And just as you're like, do I want to listen to the first half of this? Because it wasn't a lot, but it was like maybe.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Like, as soon as it stops and we both meet eyes and know that we both actually did just hear this, he immediately, like, hits play again.
So it starts all over again. The first half of it says, "Hey Jude. Hey Al. You know I love you both, right? I love you so much that it pains me that I have to do this. But at the very least, we'll always be together when it's over." And then it picks up from where I left off.
And Al lets it play all the way through. And he just sets his phone down. And you can just see his hand fucking vibrating. Okay.
Allie tried to grab me.
What?
When I was in the room after you left, I was there with the painting, and he tried to grab me.
Are you positive that happened? Like, are you positive?
I know we are looking around this place for a fucking monoxide leak, but I'm positive what I experienced. I remember that smell.
Oh, God damn it. Okay. So what? Like he's haunting us? Like he's a fucking ghost?
I don't know. Why did...
And as you are wondering, like, what the fuck is going on, you're now tense in general. Like, this is not an unease, this is straight up tense territory. And you are standing, like, across from each other, kind of like standing, not intending for this to happen, where your portraitures set up are right now, across from each other, and then you're looking at each other. And then at the same time, you hear that watch tick, 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 tick. And it's louder than it should be, considering that, like, maybe it's because the music stopped and now the space is empty and that all that's left is the stick, but it sounds like the size of the clock in terms of sound is larger than a watch, and it gets louder in your ears. Tick, tick. And then, as if two hands meeting at the top of the hour, a resounding clink. Ow. Your wrist starts itching.
What the fuck? Like, of course I go to scratch it, and almost kind of hoping half-heartedly that the paint comes off when I do that, even though I've scrubbed the shit out of it.
You see the ridges of the fingerprints. Like, they start slowly bleeding outward, blossoming over your skin. It's very gradual, and it's starting to grow up your wrist. It no longer resembles the ridges of a fingerprint now. It's just kind of taking over your skin.
And you get to watch Al actually start to panic. Like, he's like, absolutely like, trying, like, this is so illogical. He stopped looking at you. And he's just frantically trying to rub this off. And eventually, do you know where paint thinner is? Do you have paint thinner?
Yeah. And
Before
he's
you
already
move forward, Jude, and you're getting ready to consider paint thinner because your friend asked, those same arms wrap around you, but this time they lock you in a cage of a hug. And then there's like the chin resting on your shoulder, and then keeps you in place and says, no, you're next. And this is where we're going to take a break, everybody. Thank you so much. Stuff is going. Oh my God. I was trying to find a good spot because this is getting good. But we will be back, so please don't go anywhere. And we'll see you soon. Toodaloo.